Hello everyone. So as you know, there is a subsection of the playtest Deadlock forum that you can post in your hero ideas or ability ideas. I have several posts made on that part of the forum, and I wanted to make a video about some of the characters I've brainstormed. These are only 3 of all the characters I've brainstormed. I just think they're like have the best kits, design wise, the most interesting kits. And obviously, if anyone wants to, if this video gets like enough interest and there's interest in this in general, I can make videos about the other characters. First one is Takemi. Concept design, I used a monk class from World of Warcraft and this panda from Hearthstone. Her main gimmick is fist gun. She throws her fists in a martial arts position where she throws fist projectiles. She's close range, and story lore wise, she's connected with Yamato in some way. I in my mind, in the post I made and in the thread I made, her story was that she was a bodyguard to Yamato, that for some reason or another they drifted apart and don't work anymore together, but both are in New York now. For abilities, Shadow Orb is a charge's its ability. Summon an orb in front of you in a very short range that explodes, dealing spirit damage to enemies and healing friendly targets. You can light or heavy melee the orb to shoot them in a straight line, which will influence the spread of the flying orb. So as you see in these 2 pictures on the right, you summon the orb. It just stays there for a little period of time, and then it explodes, either doing damage or healing. We don't really have an ability like that. I would assume that, not assume, you would think of something like maybe Doorman or Holiday, but both Doorman, Ring Bell, and Holiday's Barrow do play much differently in that their use application is different. And this is, I think, and I do think that having like maybe something like a keg for Holiday, but it heals, or like a door that it heals for people, but you have to manually activate the healing, would be an interesting gimmick for a character. The upgrades anti-heal effect to enemies. I think this is fine. I think it's good what it did. I wanted to give it some kind of value for actually hitting enemies with it, because I feel like the other part is that people will just spam it on allies if it's too good. Successful triggering effect refunds one's hearts. This goes with the assumption that the cooldown per charge is very high, so I wanted that if you trigger a burst here with heavy melees, that you refund 1 charge, but that might be just outright OP, so yeah, you can ignore that if you want. Orb stays longer on summon. That's very self-explanatory. Second ability, Tiger Kick. Soar through the air forward at an increased speed. While active, the ability can be pressed to land. To add to some context, I don't know why it says context, the ability would have full free mouse control to any side. Influenced by Flying Serpent Kick in World of Warcraft. Okay, so here's the thing. This is similar to a Infernus second ability without being charged. It throws you in front, but you can like navigate it with your mouse, and only the front part of the animation does damage. If you press the ability again, you will do like a stomp on the ground. And the upgrade landing applies a 70% slow in the small range. Tiger Kiss is counted as a light melee attack, reduced cooldown, and landing on enemy refunds a Shadow Orb. I tried to put some gimmick here where if you land on an enemy with Tiger Kick, you can immediately summon an orb and proc a burst healing or burst damage, depending on how close your allies are, depending on what your team needs. And I think it's a good gimmick, but and I think this is, and we don't have an ability like this, so I think it's a decent concept. Ability 3, Flurry Fist. Channel a flurry of fists in front of you, dealing spirit damage per connected fist. I wanted to do the martial artist that's non-stop sending out punches in a very rapid succession. And now that we have Silver that has attack speed on her wolf form when she uses an ability and hits a target, like continuously gets a fire rate when she hits a target and uses an ability on a target, I came to the conclusion that an ability that functions like a series of fists is better than just a fire rate modifier. So this is my idea. The picture on the top right corner is Guan Yu from Smite Beta. If you can see, they're doing some kind of like spear animation and different spears are flying towards at very fast rate. This is basically what I meant. Like you do this and your character starts doing like martial artist thing and like fist starts getting summoned in very fast way. And yeah, and there's also a picture of a JoJo Bizarre Adventure video game, which I feel like also kind of the yellow model in the middle showcases what I mean. I'm explaining it horribly, but you know, whatever. I think you get the idea. The upgrades are reduced cooldown, every fist can apply melee effects. This is to encourage buying some of the melee items, but also giving viability to the tier 6 melee item that mini stuns. It doesn't mini, yeah, kind of mini stuns, but it stuns when you hit 6 stacks. And every successful fist on the target gives you stacking 2% bullet spirit. I wanted to enhance her frontline capabilities. That's why that's there. And the ability 4 was completely different. I came to the conclusion that I didn't like any one of the abilities I wrote on the forum, so I just copied Winter Wyvern's Curse. You pick a target, you freeze them, which means that they take reduced damage, but they can still get debuffed, and they count all of their friends towards them. It doesn't need to be a freeze, obviously. For the concept, it can be anything else. Like it could be, I don't know, a mind control, or like, I don't know, a special ancient martial artist move from Mortal Kombat or something. An artist can figure it out. Second character, Steel. Frontliner, close range damage, design, part of a paranormal military company similar to Wrecker, if you remember his story. And her story is a living weapon. So in my mind, she's a human hybrid, was... So she was made to... She was normal, but then there was an accident and she got turned into... She didn't get turned. She had the powers to control metal and steel. Liquid metal. Like, that's her gimmick. She can control liquid metal. How does she get to that point? I don't know. I wrote a little bit story on the forum. This user called Wolfgang went into more in depth into how they would imagine the story for Steel. You can read their posts. I'm very grateful. It gave me a lot of ideas about character design and character concept, so props to Wolfgang. And on the down right corner, you can see 3 concepts. I have Ben 10, Gwen 10 from Ben 10 Alien Form. I have War Machine, and I have this character that's a DC villain that I accidentally forgot the name of. But you know, tell me what his name is, because I forgot. Ability 1, precise steel, firing homing steel shards at nearby enemies, each one dealing spirit damage and healing you a flat amount per hard hit. I wanted an ability that works similar to Hazard's main gimmick, which is sending out I forgot the element. I think it's not diamonds, but some kind of crystal. And you can also see on the right corner there's Kaiser that kind of does the same thing. We don't have an homing ability like this that's like sends out multiple mini projectiles at the target that give, and I think you can do a lot with that idea. Second ability is a mobility ability. So I wasn't too exact what kind of mobility ability I wanted. That's a mouthful. But I do remember that Dynamo used to have like a sumo charge from Neon Prime, where they would charge a big they would charge a wide charge similar to Abrams. It would be on a channel, and I've added 3 pictures to showcase what it is. It does need a little bit more to make it more unique, but we don't really have a charge. We don't have a ability that a mobility ability that you need to channel for, which I think you could play a lot with. Like, you can make it vertical, because as far as I remember, this ability is not vertical, and you can only go straight. Well, not straight, I mean, you can only go on the ground. You can't really go upwards with it. Like, if you're looking at the building, you can't, like, charge through not through the building, but like from the building, if that makes sense, in a vertical position. Ability 3, Canon Axe. Form a steel shield that absorbs all frontal damage. Number scales with spirit. For a set duration, pressing the ability again will remove the shield and throw a sharp tile. Spirit scaling plus tower damage during the absorption. Steel can use her first ability and shoot her gun while the 3 is active. This is inspired by Athena's kinetic ability from Borderlands. You pull up a shield, you absorb damage in front of you, and then when you absorb enough damage, or you press the ability again, you can throw out your shield. Now, this ability is kinda might not exactly work. My idea was that you go in with your first ability, you pull up your shield, and you start tanking with it. You start being a frontliner, and I think that's a neat concept. I do think that maybe the shield, the third ability, might need some kind of adjustments to not be this not one-dimensional, but to better synergize with the character. I do think there's something good here with the 3 synergizing with the first, but it just might not be enough. But I do like this concept of absorbing damage and then throwing it back at enemies. I'm just not sure if it's for this character. Ability 4. Inspired by Elder Titans. Sends a fourth jagged crack in front of steel that implodes after a slight delay. The moon explodes in speed, slow deals spirit damage and corresponding. So this does max per hit. So you create a... So you do an animation, you do a big crack on the ground or something. And after like 1.3 seconds or 1.5, a huge explosion of something happens and pulls enemy towards it. I like it. I'm actually surprised that we don't really have this ability already in Deadlock, because all of the because of how much it can influence like a team fight. I do think this is something we're gonna get in the future in Deadlock. But yeah, this is I think this ult like fits perfectly for her. Like, she engages with the second ability, then uses metallic burst, and like I think I'm cooking here, chat. I think I'm cooking. Oh wait, let me just talk before. What kind of gun would she use? I'm not exactly sure what kind of gun she would use. I in the forum I wrote like something similar to Emma Frost's gun from Marvel Rivals, where she like a close range, like it's like a flamethrower that doesn't do damage over time, if that makes sense. It's not like a bullet or like a hit scan or like a projectile. It's like a flamethrower. So it's a series of projectiles that kind of look like a flamethrower. But I don't know how good that will be. So, dice character. Gun Hero Hybrid inspired by Venator RNG dices. Ability 1. Coin toss. Throw a coin toss that damages and reduces all of your cooldown by 1 second on hit. It has spirit. Coin toss considered the bullet can proc bullet effects from items. So here's the thing. This character is heavily influenced by Venator. I wanted another character like Venator that can a gun character that can focus on buying weapon damage. But their main gimmick is that I will show you the main gimmick later, but I wanted a character like Venator that has the main gimmick of dealing mostly damage, gun damage to their ability, and then with their gun, they become like this uniquely designed character that needs to but the thing is, I want this character to feel like Venator, but I want him to feel more like you need the first ability to do well on Venator. I don't want like, oh, you can just buy, like, maybe there's a meta where like Fire Rater is good, or like where you can like completely ignore the charge mechanic, or like some of the new items this game, or the the new blood update. And so I want the main gimmick is the first ability, and everything revolves around this first ability. And there's the upgrades under. You could change the spirit scaling to gun scaling. I have thought about that. As you can see, like, the idea is to spam this a lot, so I do think that maybe it should be damage gun scaling, because you every time you hit it, you reduce this cooldown by 1 second. So yeah, upgrades significantly increase the next coin damage, reduce cooldown. Coin toss can build up a root effect on the target. I think this a character like this that's so centralized around spamming one ability needs some way to catch up to a person and to hold them in surprise, because like people are just gonna run away from you, like there's so you need some way to lock them down. Ability, Escape Artist. This ability used to exist in the files. It doesn't anymore. I think it was inside the files for Sinclair. It's a blink. You click, you use it when you press the button, you slightly blink in front of you, and I've added some additional effects for the character. Stamina recovery makes your coin toss slow and hit, bigger sealed, but also that maybe you throw out a random dice that deals damage to an enemy, just to give it more damage, just to give it the ability to do damage rather than just being a shield. Ability 3, roll the dice. This is the main gimmick that works for the first ability gimmick. Roll a dice that provide a random buffs out of several buff. Faster stamina regenerates, and coin toss applies a healing bane effect. Coin toss can do its damage twice on a hit. Bonus HP. Coin toss can steal HP for a set duration. Items from the shop are cheaper by 100 to 300 souls depending on the tier, and upgrades into increased buff duration, movement speed on activation, and 1 buff on cast. So I haven't thought about how many buffs I want to be able to get. I think that I think 1 buff is fine, but then I think that as you maybe it can scale with boons, and maybe every 10 levels you get 1 more buff, or maybe 15 boons. I'm not sure, but generally I did it with the idea that you get only 1 buff, and you can have multiple dices. And that's another thing. Like, you can use roll dice, then you still have the buffs, then you can use it again to get new buffs, but they won't refresh the buff. They'll be on top of the already existing buffs. And and as you can see, it works to both self buff you, but also buff a lot of your coin toss ability. Ability 4. Grants a self-outlock on coin toss against a single enemy unit or enemy building. Okay. I couldn't think of an ability for them, so because the character is so focused on coin toss as their main gimmick to deal damage, I came to the conclusion that maybe the ability should have aim hack. And this is the ultimate. I'm using Soldier 76 as an example, but like, it's not about projectiles, it's about the first ability. And you can see the upgrades. Cooldown reduction, coin toss, any resist. Coin toss has 50% to ignore any resist stats. This is because I wanted to give it more burst. That's about it. Killing a unit during focus dice increases coin toss damage by 3. Again, to give more power to the main coin toss ability. And that's about it. Thank you a lot for watching this and being part of this, watching my video. I hope I would love to know what you think about my concept. And bye.